A mother writes to me about Ella, her daughter, who's about 2.5 years old, about 30 months. And she says, she got up this morning, Ella, and walked to the refrigerator where she stood and pointed at the fridge. That's actually a pretty good start. Children, at that age, they're beginning to be verbal. And they're cranky when they get up. So it's really common for a cranky kid to get up and just start whining immediately. Many kids just cry, which is just not appropriate at 30 months. At 30 months, they speak 200 to 300 words. So whining is not needed. Pointing is less desirable than words, but it beats the trash out of crying. If you have a child who does that regularly, cry, which would include lots of kids, that means you are enabling them. A child gets up and starts crying, and then you start racing around to find what they want. Stop it. We need to give them the responsibility, as we talked about in a previous video chat. They have the ability to respond, which develops responsibility. And we don't speak whine in this house. You remind them. You previously would already have taught them this. And a 2-year-old is not too young to understand that, really. But pointing works. Mom says, I asked her what she wanted, and she said, fig. I must admit I was probably 35 years old until I learned that figs aren't something that grows in between 2 layers of bread in fig Newtons. So this kid knew fig, and she used an English word. This is outstanding so far. Mom said, I got a couple of figs and offered one to her, and she did that move that kids do so well. It's hard to describe in words, sort of like a convulsive, flailing grunt. Now, any parent who's had a young child knows exactly that move. That move looks just like that. It varies hardly at all. So Mom says, I stop what I'm doing, and I take back the fig. So now she doesn't have a fig because she did that. Well, bless you, honey. How few parents understand the dangers of a seemingly innocent gesture like that. So brief. It seems so small, but fast forward. Finish the end of the film. When you have a daughter who is entitled, picky, has to have everything her way, is demanding and impossible, and doing all kinds of things that are just terrible for her, where do you think that began? It began with the convulsive flailing and grunting at age 2. Everybody's mystified. How could a kid kill his parents with an axe? How could a kid do a school shooting? How could a kid go out and get drunk and kill himself in a car, or a family in a car? It started at age 2 or earlier. Every flood begins with one drop. Every fatal cancer begins with mutation of a single cell. We must pay attention to any childhood behavior that's not loving or responsible. We don't always have to address every single behavior. Like, what if the child is just sick or tired? For some reason you went out somewhere and you brought them back an hour after their bedtime, or their unloving behavior is just a rare exception. Then you don't have to address it necessarily. But most of the time, yes, we do need to address it. And you did. Bravo. Mom says, I talked to her about how that move, and I mimicked it. Oh, stop me. This is beautiful. Often they act all innocent, like, what, Mother? They're just little angels. Mother, what are you talking about? What move? What whining? I'm confused, my mother. They can do all that with one look at 2.5. But if you mimic the move, not snottily, not with an attitude, just exactly mimicking it, there is no doubt what you're talking about next. So now the child can't claim to not know what you're talking about. So back to Mom, who said, I talked to her about how that move, mimicking it, is not speaking English words. That move is part of whine language, I said. And if she wants to continue, she can. But I said, you have to do it in your bedroom, where you can speak the whine language to yourself, because we don't speak it out here. Or You can use real words. Now, see, that's pretty clever for Mom to come up with that. I usually say you have to speak English. Mom said real words. I think that's brilliant. You have to use those right now if you want to stay out here with people who speak real words. See how it's not a punishment? If you want to do whine, you have to do that by yourself, because out here we speak English, or we speak real words. Just like if you want to hit things. Oh, you can't do that out here where people don't like to be hit, but you're certainly welcome to go in there and punch your pillow all you'd like. This is brilliant. You explain that it's whine, but you don't explain it over and over again, too many instances in a row, because then they're making you do all the work. Your daughter is. After a few times of explaining that it's whine, you just say English, or like you said, real words, or big girl words. That's another way to say it. That's all, because she already knows what you're talking about because you've explained it before, and they are so not stupid. So don't keep explaining it. So let's assume that you haven't over-explained. Now she has a choice. Mom says she made the move again. She did that little... So I said, okay, you go to your room and you can whine there all you want. I'll wait for you out here until you can speak English. I hope you come back soon. See how brilliant this is? And did you get the tone? I hope you come back soon. Mom's being nothing but inviting. I would really like to have you out here, but if you choose to, behave like a goof, you can go to the place where you can do that. Mom says she hated that. And she countered, instead of doing the shrugging motion, she countered by doing that rapid fire repeating thing that she does. And some of your parents have seen this. She said, all done, meaning whining. All done, all done, all done. And then she was crying while she did it. And I talked to her about that too, which I mimicked. And I said, that's not English either. That's not real words. So I said, well, bye. You go to your room and I'll see you soon, I hope. All positive. Excellent. No whining. It's a poison that spreads into everything. Whining turns into victimhood and entitlement and anger and all the other stuff that just destroys a kid. Mom said, I have to pay close attention to my own tone of voice, because if I'm in a bad mood, she's less cooperative. No kidding. Excellent point. If you're not truly present here and calm, then her fussiness will be far more likely. So what you're going to do is spend lots more proactive time loving her, which will tend to prevent her having that attitude. Mom said, so she went back to her room, calms down, and comes back out and just calmly says, fig. I get one and give it to her. She starts with that move again, and this time, instead of explaining the whole thing, I just lifted my eyebrow and said, is that English? And she stopped. People ask me all the time, how long does it take to teach a child not to whine? Oh, I've heard various answers. Some people say 3 weeks, which means that they didn't do it consistently. Kind of the average, if you do it consistently, is about 2 days, and I've heard it as few as a few hours. Mom says the rest of the morning went fine. Sometimes you have to do the sending her to her room thing several times. So what? But you can't finish until she stops whining. It's so worth it. Congratulations to you, Mom, on handling this beautifully, and to everybody else. This would not be a lot different with a teenager. No kidding. Teenagers don't behave a whole lot like they're older than 2, although you might vary the consequences. Sending to their room, it's not unlikely they'd like to be in their room. So you might change it. Any shrugging, sighing, exasperation, any kind of victim attitude, you just hold out your hand. Phone. Or, how long would you like to be without screen time? How long? Because there's going to be a consequence. Would you like to be long or short? If you keep it up, they catch on really quickly that it's going to be longer. You can make the consequence short now. You can do without your phone for a day, or you can keep it up and you can make it very long, because I can count on both my fingers and my toes, and I can get up to 20 easily, and after that we sell it. Yeah, they pay attention. Childhood is where children learn how the world is and how to behave in it. Every event is important. There are no little things. We just need to pay attention and continue to love and teach them.